Ready to dive into a deep dive on Kabhi Khushi Kabhie Gham, K3G as it's better known.
I am so ready.
You know I love a good Bollywood epic, and it seems like you do too. You've sent in some super interesting stuff on this one, really get into like the why.
Definitely.
Why this movie is more than just a classic, why it still matters.
Yeah.
So, okay, for anyone who might not have seen it, we were talking big, glamorous family drama here, set against the backdrop of like crazy rich Indian family life, mansions, parties, the whole Bollywood shebang.
Exactly. And those over-the-top elements, they actually serve a purpose.
Oh, I'm intrigued. How so?
Well, it's not just about the glitz, right? K3G takes these universal themes, family, love, duty, but it really grounds them in the specifics of Indian culture at a certain moment in time. We're talking early 2000s.
Which was a time of massive change in India, right?
Yeah.
Socially, economically, like everything's transforming.
Exactly. And the film picks up on those anxieties, those tensions between tradition and modernity that were so palpable then.
So how does that actually play out in the movie?
We'll take the Raichand mansion, for instance.
Okay, iconic.
It's the symbol of wealth, obviously, but it also represents the weight of tradition, of legacy. Then you have Anjali, Rahul's love interest. She comes from a more humble background, embodies a more modern sensibility.
And she kind of throws a wrench in their very traditional world.
Totally. And that clash, that's a huge part of what the film is grappling with.
Which makes sense because India was in this really transitional phase, right? Like, how do you hold on to tradition while the world is changing so fast?
Exactly. And those anxieties, they're woven into the very fabric of the film, especially in the way family dynamics play out. Think about Yash, the patriarch.
Oh, he is intense.
Right. He's so firm in his beliefs in upholding tradition, even if it means his son's happiness.
Yeah, even at the cost of his son's happiness.
And that reflects a very real dilemma many Indian families faced at the time. Younger generations pushing for more freedom, challenging those old ways of thinking. And we can't talk about K3G without talking about the sheer star power of it all.
Oh my gosh, yes. Shah Rukh Khan, Kajol, legends, Amitabh Bachchan, Jaya Bachchan.
Right. It's like you're not just getting actors, you're getting icons.
Exactly.
And they brought something so special to those roles.
Okay, so they're icons, but they're also playing, like, these characters are archetypes, right? We've got the dutiful son, the rebellious lover, the stern patriarch.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
But these actors, they transcend the stereotypes, you know, with their nuance, their charisma.
Yeah.
Like, take Amitabh Bachchan as Yash Raichand.
Oh, what a performance.
Right. He has that formidable patriarch, but Bachchan, he brings this underlying vulnerability.
Yeah.
This deep love for his family, you know. It's
heartbreaking.
It is. He's not just this unyielding figure of tradition. He's a father wrestling with really complex emotions.
And that complexity, I think, is what makes that eventual reconciliation with Rahul all the more powerful. Oh, and speaking of iconic characters, we got to talk about Kareena Kapoor as Pooh.
Oh my God, yes. Pooh.
She basically redefined style for a whole generation.
Totally. I mean, the clothes, the confidence, the unapologetic self-love, she became this phenomenon.
Total phenomena. And it showed how Bollywood could influence everything, from fashion to like attitudes towards love and relationships even.
Completely.
It's amazing how even now you still hear people quoting those iconic Pooh lines.
It's so right.
Like, it's part of the culture now, even beyond the movie itself, you know.
It's true.
And speaking of things that are instantly recognizable, the music.
Oh, the music.
Those songs, they weren't just like background music, they were anthems.
Every single one a hit.
Totally. Like, I feel like the music of K3G, it wasn't just there to entertain, it
had a purpose.
Yes.
Yes.
It was so carefully crafted to bring out all those emotions.
Exactly. I mean, that blend of traditional Indian sounds with more modern Western influences.
So good.
It created this soundscape that just worked across generations even.
Totally. Like, take Bollywood Chudian, right? You've got this celebration of Indian wedding traditions, but with this contemporary energy.
It makes you want to get up and dance.
Yes. No matter who you are, where you come from, or, Surajwa Madam.
Classic.
Like the Bollywood ballad. And it just became synonymous with romance.
Totally.
It's universal. It really is amazing how these songs from K3G have just like woven themselves into our lives.
It is.
Even after all this time.
Right. And it speaks to the movie's legacy, doesn't it?
For sure.
But even beyond the music, like, there's something deeper here.
Okay, what do you mean?
Well, we're still talking about this film.
True.
It came out, over 2 decades ago at this point?
More than 20 years, yeah.
So what gives? Why does K3G still have this hold on us, you know?
This is a good question, right? Like, Why does it still resonate? What's the magic ingredient?
Well, for one thing, it taps into these really timeless universal themes.
Like what?
Family, right? Love conquering all obstacles.
Classic themes, for sure.
That longing for belonging, for acceptance, those are experiences that go beyond any one culture. It's human, you know?
You're right, they are universal. But I feel like there's also something about how K3G portrays those themes, specifically within the context of like the Indian diaspora.
Absolutely. For so many people living outside India, K3G became this way to connect with their heritage.
Right.
To share a part of their culture.
And like an experience to share, even if you're not Indian.
Exactly. It evokes nostalgia, a sense of shared identity that really resonated.
Yeah, no, totally. I've had that experience, like watching with friends from all different backgrounds, and they might not get every little detail.
Right.
But the emotions, the humor, the desire to be accepted, to belong.
It's universal.
Everyone gets that. But okay, we acknowledge no movie's perfect.
True enough.
And K3G has gotten its fair share of criticism over the years, right?
For sure. Some find the portrayal of wealth over the top or the emotional tone a little too much.
Yeah, it's definitely a melodrama.
Right. Some people find it too dramatic, especially compared to films being made now.
And it's interesting to think about the context, right? Like that style of filmmaking, that was just how it was done back then. Bollywood in the early 2000s. It was all about heightened emotions, about grandeur.
Right. So in a way, K3G is this time capsule.
Totally. It shows us not just what stories were being told, but how.
Exactly.
That makes you think about how Bollywood has changed even since then.
For sure.
How would a K3G made today even look?
Right. Would they tackle the same themes? Would the approach be different?
I mean, family dynamics have shifted, relationships have shifted. Would it reflect all that?
It's so interesting to consider. But I think that's the mark of any truly great film, right? That it keeps sparking these conversations, even years later.
Still gets us thinking.
Exactly. It stays with you.
So there you have it. We've taken a deep dive into the world of K3G, looked beyond the surface at its cultural impact, the music, those universal themes.
The melodrama.
Oh, the melodrama. But ultimately, it's a film that continues to resonate, to spark debate.
And let's not forget, it reminds us about the power of storytelling, you know?
Absolutely. The power of a good story, well told. Until next time, happy watching, everyone.